All right, so the next thing we'll be doing now is a organization unit. So how are we configuring these organizational units? Assuming that you are working for your organization, and inside the organization, we're going to be having different departments. We can have a sales department, we can have an HR department, ICT, marketing, finance. So if you want to create account for all those people, and you'll be able to manage what they are doing, what they cannot do, you're going to be using what we call OU, which is a organization unit. So that organization is just like a container that administrator can use to create any policy, to do anything on the Active Directory. So if you come here, how do we configure the organizational unit? The first thing you need to do is to open your server manager. So if you go back to our server, you open your server manager. So once you open your server manager, the first thing you're going to be clicking on, you'll be clicking on Tools. Click on Tools. That's the first thing you're going to be clicking on. So the next thing here now says that after you click on Tools, you will click on the Active Directory Users and Computers. All right, so you're going to click on the one that says Active Directory Users and Computers. So once you click on Active Directory Users and Computer, you're going to see your domain names and you're going to right click on your domain names. So if I get back to our server, here is our own domain name, which is a fibertrain.net, and we're going to right click on it. So once you right click, you come to where we have new, and you're going to come to where we have an organizational unit. So you click on it. So the same thing inside this slide. When you right click on your domain name, you come to where we have new, and you're going to click on a organizational units. So once you click on organizational unit, you'll be able to name it based on whatever you want to name. So if I come to my own server, once you are here, you're going to give it a name. So you can name it Fibertrain Employee. So you can name it Fibertrain Employees. Once you name it Fibertrain Employee, you're going to click on OK. That is the first organizational unit that we create. We name it Fibertrain Employee. All right, which means that inside that Fibertrain Employee, that's where you're going to see all the list of employees that Fibertrain has. All right, so you can actually right click again on your domain. You can right click on your domain again and come to new and come to where we have an organizational unit. Click on it. So you can name this guy Fibertrain. You can name it Fibertrain Computers. All right, so you click OK. So which means that we have created COU. The first one is a Fibertrain employee. The second one here is a Fibertrain Computers. So anytime an administrator needs to make a policy on the employees, or maybe wants to make changes on employees, he have already know where he's going to navigate to. And anytime he wants to make any changes on the computers, or maybe wants to add any new computer, he has already know where to navigate to. So that's how you created your organizational unit. Okay, so the next thing we're now going to be doing right now, after we create the organization unit, we're now going to be creating sub-OU. Sub-OUs means that we're going to be creating another unit inside that particular organizational unit. So if I comes to my server, here we've created Fibertrain employees. We're going to right click on the Fibertrain employee and we're going to click on new, and you're still going to see another organizational unit. Click on it. So we're going to name this one sales department. So we're going to be naming this guy here sales department, and we'll click on OK. We'll right click on the Fibertrain employee again. So we're going to naming this guy ICT. All right. So we're going to be naming this guy here ICT department, because inside Fibertrain employee, we're going to have different employees that they are doing different tasks. So right click again, click on new, click on the organizational unit. So we're going to name this guy HR department. Oh, so you click on OK. So what we created now is what they call a sub OU. Here, inside Faber train employees, if we expand, you will see that we have HR department, we have ICT department, and we have a sales department. Okay, so that's how you create department in your organizational unit. So here they create sales, they click OK. Here now they have like five departments inside that particular organizational unit. All right. So if I come to our own, we only created like three. We can actually create another one. Click on new, click on organizational unit, and we can name this guy admin department, and you click on OK. So you're going to see that we have four. So that's how you create all those things, and it's going to be looking the same thing like this. This is what they call organizational units. So the next thing here, after we create organizational units, the next thing is to configure users in each OUs. For example, here now we say that we have a sales department, we have admin department, we have HR department, marketing and legal. All right, inside sales department, there must be a user that are working for sales. So we're going to be creating any user that we are any user that we are employed that's going to be working for sales. We're going to be adding the account in a sales department. If we have another users that are going to be working for admin, we'll be adding the account in a admin department. All right, I'm coming. Okay. So the next thing we want to do now is that in each department, we'll be creating users accounts in each department. So if I bring up our server here, you can see that the first department we have HR, second one is ICT, third one is the sales, and the last one is the admin. So if you want to create users accounts in HR department, you will right click on HR department. Once you right click on HR department, you will come to where we have new, and you scroll down, you click on user, which is the first thing here that say we should do. Click on the tools, and you come to Active Directory users and computer. You will right click on the OUs that you created and click on new. After that, click on user, which is what we are able to do here right now. So once you click on user, you're going to specify the name of the employee. If we are employ a new workers, you're going to ask for the name, you're going to collect the information of the employee. For example, if the name of this employee here is a Sami, and the initial here maybe is a O, and the last name here is a Sami as well. Let's just make that as an example. The first name is Sami, last name is a Sami. And here, the next thing here, you're going to be creating the username that Sami is going to be using to log into his or our system. You're going to be creating a username that Sami is going to be logging into his or our system. So we specify Sami here, which means that anytime Sami wants to log into his or her system, is going to be using Sami as the username. So we're going to click on next. But before we click on next, we're going to see that this Sami here is going to be a member of fibertrade.net, which is our domain name. All right. So we're going to click on next. The next thing is to specify the password that you want the users to be using to log in for the first time. So we're going to be specify the password. Specify the password, because as you are giving the user the username, you will be giving the user the password to log in as well. So you will choose the password. So once you choose the password, we have four options here. The first one says user must change password as next logon. So if you are working for a normal working environment, you are creating a new employee's account, you must make sure that you mark this option. This option here must turn on so that anytime we create a user's account and we give the users his or her username and password, anytime the user is logging into his system, is going to be using the first username and password you specify. But once you hit enter key, the system going to ask the user to change the passwords to wherever they want to change it to. So that there must be privacy on what the users uses to log into a system. It's not maybe the administrator going to know the password and we're going to know everything about the user's account. The user going to change it to whatever he likes so that he will be the only ones to know the password. All right. The second one here says users cannot change password. So anytime you don't want the user to change password, you make sure that you click the second option that says user cannot change password. But anytime you want the user to change password, you will click the first one. But if you try to click the first one, it will tell you error. You need to unclick the second before you click the first. This first one allows the users to change his passwords to wherever they want, and this second one here allow the user to be using the administrator password. So the third one now says password never expire. So anytime you give a user password and you don't want the password to expire, you choose on this particular option, which means that this password will be what the user is going to be using forever. Is not going to expire on the network. And the last one says account is disabled. Anytime that particular we want to disable that particular user's account, maybe the account is not functioning, you can use an account is disabled, but we're not going to be using that option. Just leave it on the user cannot change password. But if you are working for a working environment, make sure that you mark this so that the employees can change to whatever their password is. So you click on next and you click on finish. As you can see in ICT, we have a user's account that is Sami. So that's how you'll be creating all the employees that we have in ICT on HR, I mean, on HR. So in ICT, if you want to create the user's account as well, right click on ICT, come to new and come to user. I will name this guy Sam. So real quick, name this guy Sam and name the last name as a Sam. Initial, I can use O. So the username, you'll be using Sam. Click next and you specify the password that Sam going to be using to log in. So specify the password that Sam going to be using to log in. And you click on user cannot change password. This is just for demonstration. For a working environment, you must enable the first options. Okay, so you click on next and you finish. So that's how you create an account that's how you create a user's account in each department. Here now says, after that, you are going to put the password you want to be using in the box. Note your password must meet the password requirements. That means you must have a minimum password length, password complexity, and your password must be both alphabet, number, and a symbol. Anytime you have specified the user password, make sure that the password meets the requirements. So after that, click on button user cannot change password. This is just for what? For educational purpose. This is just for demonstration. But if you are working for a real environment, you must make sure that user can change their passwords to wherever they want to change it to. Okay. So that's what we are able to accomplish here. We are able to create the user's account. So once we create this user's account, the next thing we will be doing now is to log in to this user's account on our Windows 10. So in your HR, we're going to log into this Sami account to bring up our Windows 10. Bring up our Windows 10. But before we log into that, let's do the next option, which is joining the staff PCs to the company's domain. All right, so what we cover here is how to configure users account, to create users account in your department.